travel is like the first thing I ever did. And then with it, I think I made the mistake a lot of travel bloggers do of just like writing what was happening in front of me every random moment. So there was no real rhyme or reason. I didn't know who I was writing for. I definitely wasn't doing keywords. I was just like, hey, I went swimming with wild dolphins today. That was great. Or like, I wrote one post where I was in Singapore visiting my mom, and I literally said, I'm in Singapore visiting my mom. And like, it was a 500-word post. No one cared. Like, who wants to know that?
No, fair enough. Travel's an interesting one because obviously the idea of travel is a huge, huge, huge niche. So if you kind of niche down into a certain aspect of travel, I mean,
Yes.
I'm assuming you could probably niche down to country or you could niche down to the type of travel. There's a lot in there. So what are you currently, or are you able to share
Yeah,
what you're currently
of
doing in there?
course. Yeah. So my main site, I started off with solo female travel once I started kind of finding a niche. And then I realized solo female travel is so oversaturated. And not in a bad way. There's just like really good people out there. So it's really hard. Yes, tons. Like the blonde abroad, there's just so many. Honestly, I could name a million people doing it. And the problem is like they've existed since like 2010 and stuff like that. So their DA is like 50, 60, 70. And then here's me coming in with a DA 14 being like, I know everything. And I knew nothing. So because of that, I realized like I'm just not able to crack it. And if I did solo female travel in a specific country, I probably could have, but I didn't want to limit myself like that. So I sat down and looked at my top 10 most trafficked posts, which, like, again, not that much traffic. But my top three were all about living abroad because I've lived in now 18 countries in the last 10 or 11 years. And I realized people really wanted to know more about that. So I niched into expat travel and like living abroad in different places, not digital nomad, more like kind of a permanent move. Even though I call myself a slow mad because I tend to do like 2 to 6 months in a country. New Zealand has been my longest by far in a while. And then I also added a pillar of Canada because, like, I'm in Canada. At the time, it was the pandemic. I was stuck here. I needed to write about some of the vaguely interesting things I was doing to not go out of my mind living in my sister's basement. So I was like, okay, we'll do living in Canada as kind of one of the main pillars. I thought I would write on it for like a month. It's been a year and a half, and I'm still writing on it.